President Trump taking heavy fire this time over the state of his mental health. The new attacks coming from both sides of the aisle.
We have a president who is delusional in many respects, a pathological liar.
Is it true that Republican colleagues of yours expressed concern about President Trump's mental health?
A few.
Really?
Yeah. It's not the majority of them, it's a few.
In what way?
In the way that we all have this suspicion that, that he lies a lot.
Lisa Booth is a contributor for the Washington Examiner, president and founder of High Noon Strategies, and a Fox News contributor. Linda Tran was a communications director for Tim Kaine when he was Virginia governor. She's also a founding partner and strategist for 270 Strategies. Good to see you both.
Hi, Shannon.
Good to be here.
Okay, Linda, those are some really strong words there. I mean, he said, I believe what we heard this weekend was delusional. We're worried about his mental health in a way that we're all worried about it. How do you think that people would have reacted if they said that about President Obama?
Well, I think it's a little misleading to act so surprised about this particular moment in time. You do have to remember that when Barack Obama was addressing a joint session of Congress, sitting congressman from South Carolina, Joe Wilson, actually screamed out, "You lie." So it's not as if there hasn't been a breach of decorum of sorts all along the way. And that was, of course, 2009 at the very beginning of Barack Obama's administration.
So, Lisa, telling someone that they lied or that you think they lied versus calling them crazy and mentally ill, is it the same?
No, it's not the same. Or even the fact of sitting members of Congress saying that the president is not legitimate, having the Democratic Party calling for electors to defect, which is what we saw. Look, I really think that what's happening right now on the Democratic Party is they're in the wilderness right now, and they don't quite know how they're going to get out. But look, in regards to this, there's a completely different standard that's applied to the left than is applied to the right. I mean, how many times has, a Republican candidate or even Donald Trump said something and the entirety of the Republican Party has to answer to it? That never happens on the left. They get away with everything. Mind you, the fact that the Democratic Party had nominated a candidate that was under a criminal investigation by the FBI. She barely had to answer for it. The Democratic Party didn't have to answer to it. You've got a candidate who's the front runner for the DNC right now who's written in the past that black people need a separate country. Can you imagine the outrage if a Republican front runner had said something similar? You've got the left, protesters on the left literally blocking the education secretary from entering a public building. But the Democratic Party has not had to answer to that. They've not had to condemn it. So there's been a completely double standard. And as someone who has worked on Republican campaigns, top tier Senate races, as well as for congressional candidates, it is real and you see it all the time.
All right. I want to make sure that I bring in a poll that came out this weekend talking about how people view the president. Those who say they're believers, they support President Trump, 22%. Those who conditionally support him, 22% also. Those who are curious but want to see if he takes some action, 21%. But Linda, the resistors, the people say they are just not going to accept this president or anything. They want nothing to do with him, 35%. Any chance he can turn any of those folks around?
I think if you take a cue at all from the various protests that we've seen since the day after Donald Trump's inauguration, I think the answer is probably a resounding no. And I think that that's what you're seeing in this poll. I think the number that's actually more concerning for Donald Trump is that 22% that you cited at the beginning. I think this number is actually down from what exit polls suggested around Election Day in terms of the true believers and folks who would stand with Donald Trump no matter what. And of course, as always, it's those people in the middle who are waiting to see if he's going to deliver on his promises around the economy, or waiting to see if he's going, depending on which end of the spectrum you're talking about, waiting to see if he's going to try and work with the opposition side.
All right, Linda and Lisa, we're out of time. We got to leave it there. Great to see you both.
Thank you, Shannon.
Thank you.